Welcome to Don't Feed After Midnight. I'm Steve.
And I'm Mike.
And we're going to talk some Star Wars.
Hell yeah.
So we're going to talk about Return of the Jedi.
My favorite.
No, we're not talking about Return of the Jedi. We're going to talk about... What is the name of that film again?
The Last Sith.
I knew it. That's what they should have called it.
It was Jar Jar. We knew it.
Fucking Jar Jar.
From the beginning.
That dickless fish. All right. Maybe not dickless. Who knows? Fish balls.
I don't know. Drop them pants, Jar Jar. We got to find out.
So inappropriate.
Jar Jar kinks, if you know what I mean.
Use our feeble skills and learn much for this power of this dark side.
So we were talking. This is why we're talking about the Last Jedi. A lot of people are bitching why Luke wasn't on the planet at the end. Great, but why he wasn't there? And I mean, now it's confirmed canon. Mike found out about it.
Yeah, because they have the what's it called? The visual dictionary, and it came out it was leaked maybe a week or so before the movie came out, and no one really paid attention to certain things because they felt like it wasn't really that important. But when it came time for the movie to come out, people were like, "Well, why the fuck would they leave Luke on that island planet when he could have just been there like a badass on Crate?" And then, I was just like, maybe they might have explained this. I go back and I dig through this dictionary, and there's like a major reason why he's not there. The fucking door to his hut was made from one of the wings of the X-Wing that he dumped in the water. He literally broke it off and used it as a door. And then... middle of the movie, Chewie fucking bashes that shit in. So you gotta fix the X-Wing, after you fix the actual wing. You gotta fix the wing and then apply it to an already drowned X-Wing.
And I read somewhere that he had burned it too. He burned it.
Yeah, and there was an astromech that was all fucked up and he killed it, I guess.
What?
Yeah, because every X-Wing, I guess, needs a astromech to some extent. And or at least it has that slot for it, I guess. But I guess he didn't use R2 and used some random one. Left R2 with Leia, and then just fucking wrecked that poor droid. But
that's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of people just weren't aware of that visual dictionary, so that it's quick to be like he should have been on Crate. I just think it would have been cool if he fucking did a force freeze on the AT-AT shots and annihilated them.
Oh, I know.
That would have been the ultimate move. If they would have went that route with him actually going. But I thought the movie was great, all in all.
I thought it was pretty cool. I literally could have done, and I love the guy who plays Finn. I freaking love him.
I love him.
And I didn't hate Rose's character either. I mean, she was cool. I love the actress too. She's gorgeous, but the fact is, that whole storyline was just, I don't know. It kind of felt like
it didn't feel like it was fulfilling anything.
It didn't seem like it was part of the movie either.
No, it really felt like a side story.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there are parts of the original trilogy that feel like that too. Like when Han and them get stuck in the fucking worm's mouth in the asteroid. It's kind of like, I mean, they were hiding from the Empire, but it's it's not much different than Finn and Rose going to this planet to get intel on the Empire. So it's the plot leads to it happening, but it's just so empty. It doesn't do anything. I think the only thing I could possibly say it does is introduce them children of the Force.
those force brats.
Yeah, the slaves, the
force brats. That's what they are.
the
Little devil children.
yeah,
Playing with toys and it should be working. Some poor guy's trying to get
fucking this man's just trying to get
he's trying to make a living. These little brat kids.
It's
he
just
gives
due.
a rough over their head.
minimum wage in the galactic,
horrifying treatment.
It's all fucked up.
You just can't get good help. You can't steal good help.
Dudes are barely making 10,000 credits a year. Like what the fuck? But no, I thought it was really good. Apart from that, the Canto bite shit was just dry.
It was, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of pulled me out of the movie because you have you have this. You're building and you're building and you're building. This is the tension of them being chased. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're just like, when the ship's gonna go off? That's like, really? There's no like a swarm of TIE fighters out there, like.
Well, they didn't give a fuck. They were like, hey, we got like 12 Star Destroyers. We're just gonna chase them, and then
weird.
eventually they're gonna run out of fuel, and we're gonna get their ass.
And I don't get why they didn't just jump a Star Destroyer in front of them.
And see, that's the problem I have with every Star Wars movie, because there's always that moment where the Empire could have easily did one thing and just fucked the Resistance or the Rebellion up. And you're like, why didn't they do this?
I mean, I just don't get why I don't know, are interdictor cruisers not canon? The ones that project gravity well, so people,
I don't think they are canon. Not yet.
Because they were in the Thrawn trilogy.
Yeah, I think as of right now, they are not canon. Thrawn is such a major part of Rebels right now, though, so that could become canon in like the next couple.
And the interdictor cruisers, in case anybody's wondering, they look like Star Destroyers, but instead of like guns all over, they have 4 giant bubbles, like the ion cannon from Empire Strikes Back, cut in half, and big domes on the ship, and they project gravity. Basically make it look like the equivalent of like a planet. So like if you're in hyperspace and you're traveling faster than light and there's a big mass in front of you where it shouldn't be, you immediately get dropped out of hyperspace. Yep. Like you're gonna hit it or something like that. But because there's nothing to hit, you just drop out. That's how they trap. They would like stage. They basically would prevent you from like the rebels from escaping, because that's what the rebels used to do. They would hit and run. But if they can't run, they're definitely going to fight. And if they have to fight, like you saw in Empire Strikes Back, if they have to fight the Imperial War Machine, they're going to get their asses kicked. They put up a good fight, but realistically, the Empire simply has overwhelming numbers. And it's the interdictor cruisers. I thought were kind of neat.
I thought they were cool in concept, and I like that idea of hyperspace does not equal invincibility. Like you're just.
I thought that was
you're
cool.
good, and I'm glad that they followed up on the Rogue One hyperspace tracking nod.
Yes.
They actually made that a thing. That little nod was fantastic. But what'd you think about Snoke? I'm not just saying his death. I'm saying like
in general,
from beginning of the movie until his death.
Dude, he was freaking. It was like he was underwhelming.
I think he was overwhelming until his death.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he was really good. He's really good at oration, and he did have a skin problem, but that could have been fixed. A little bit of like little makeup and cover up. And he could have met the right girl and been a happy guy, but he dwelled on the past too much.
The Supreme Leader is wise, dude.
That was I don't know. His death was cool. Don't get me wrong.
I loved the way that he fell off that chair.
Yeah,
that was he just face planted. I was like, holy shit.
Well, like the backstory to him, I guess he's part of like a different race, and they're like navigators or something like that. And
I still think he's Plagueis.
Well, the reason
long head ass, I swear.
Well, the reason they said that the I read that like he wasn't a Sith, so the Sith are officially dead unless something else.
Yeah, in concept, Sith are dead.
They're dead.
It's just darkness.
Yeah. So you've got him, and he's like the reason that he was able to rescue a lot of the Empire and stuff like that, and basically bring them all together is because he knew routes through hyperspace that nobody else knew.
Right.
And he was able to guide the Imperial fleets and like stuff, and get them all together and combine them in an area of space, I guess, in the unknown regions where you couldn't normally travel because it wasn't mapped.
Yeah,
or something like that. Which is
because that's where he was hiding out. Was like,
and that's the thing. I get that. Like if the astromechs, the navigation computers, if they don't know, like what's in an area. They're not going to make you. You're not going to be able to make the jump to light speed.
Right, because you don't know where you're going.
You make it right into a star or into a planet or something. So, you'd have to explore those regions first by making little jumps into the regions. So rather than do that, he just skirted them all.
Right.
Because his race apparently knows, I don't know, it's really his race is like a navigator race. Like they can navigate areas of space other races can't.
Right.
It's kind of funky. I think it's kind of cool though.
I thought he was fantastic up until his death. I liked his death. I thought his death was cool. I mean, sure, it eliminates a certain part of the plot, but I thought his death was cool. But seeing him in that first moment when Hux totally fails him and the Dreadnought blows up, and he shows up as a hologram and just yanks Hux to the ground from however far he is.
That's really cool.
I seen that shit and I literally was so erect instantly.
Massive.
I'm in the back of the theater like, oh, don't look at me.
Don't look at me. Just turgid at the level. Oh, that's a horrible term.
And then, I mean, the massive display of power of just doing that, just tossing somebody to the ground like it isn't shit. Like, literally just ragdolled his ass to the ground from however far. All he had to do was see him via hologram, and he knew, like, I'm a yank your ass. Mm-hmm. And then, just the mastery of, like, that whole mind-reading shit to totally just torture the shit out of Rey. They made that shit look so clean, so cool. Like,
yeah, it was amazing, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's, I've seen a lot of theories on Snoke too of what's to come. I don't think he's truly dead.
I don't know.
Much like I don't believe Darth Plagueis actually died. I think it was all a ruse. I think
the problem is though the Emperor was the Emperor blocked people from sensing him too.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Emperor reigned for so long that he had complete control over all these governments and stuff. If Plagueis was going to make his move at any point in time, it would have been when the Empire was at its peak and everybody was under their thumb. You know what I mean? Don't you think?
But I think it makes more sense that after faking your death, you disappear and you're like, well, his hubris is going to get him killed because he thinks he's the shit. Then, 20, 30 years later, actually, by the time he was dead, you're looking at 40 years. 40, 50 years. And by then, Vader tosses him down the fucking shaft. Death Star blows up. He gets word that Empire's done. Rebels are in their little mode thinking they won. Shit's good. And then he's like, well, time to strike.
But he didn't, though, right? I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying, though. Because it hasn't been revealed. But there's too many things in place that point to him being somewhat of affiliation to someone at least as powerful as Plagueis was.
Yeah, that's the thing. Somebody, I mean, I know he was in the outer reaches, the outer rim, the unknown regions, whatever, like studying the Force. I mean, the thing is with Dark Jedi or Light Jedi, whatever, you don't just become good at the Force and master all these different things.
You have to, meditate on shit. You have to really do your homework.
Exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, he had to have somewhere he either found a storehouse of dark side knowledge or something. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Sith, were really powerful throughout the galaxy for a very long time, and they spread out everywhere. So there's a possibility he found a storehouse of Sith knowledge and chose not to follow the Sith religious aspect of it, but just the power or Force aspect of it.
Did you hear about that whole theory of him being the Prime Jedi?
What?
In Luke's island, when he takes Rey up to that the platform that he died on, when he sits there and then she calls out to the darkness or whatever, and she just accepts it, whatever, all that shit, and then he's freaking out, and then he tells her, he's like, I wasn't scared of this shit back when it happened with Ben, but now that it's happening with you, I'm scared as hell. Behind him, there was that, it was like an emblem on the ground with, a small layer of water on it. And on that emblem, it's literally like a yin-yang symbol with a Jedi like in Indian crouching position with a lightsaber in his hands, and it's like black on one side, white on one side, with a black circle on one side and then a white circle on the other. And I thought it was really interesting that they had that symbol. The character that's in that almost exactly resembles Snoke. And then in that scene before he dies, when he's talking to Rey, he says something along the lines of powerful dark and powerful light to meet it. And then he does that like clap thing in the middle. And it's insane because the way he placed his hands was almost like that he went right to the black circle and the white circle on each side of that emblem. And then he said powerful light to meet it, like right dead center where it splits. Like, oh, the movie just drives me insane with theories.
Oh yeah, that is a symbol. I just looked it up on my handy.
It's fucking crazy, ain't it? Like
the light and dark side of the Force all together. A little title. Interesting.
And that was one of the things he directly said to Rey in the movie, like powerful dark meeting powerful light, like undeniable. And when I seen that, and after I went back and seen that emblem, I was like, holy shit! Like, I mean, I don't really think that he's the Prime Jedi necessarily, but do I think that he follows somebody from his race that was the Prime Jedi? Possibly. But, no, I think he was great, and I think he's still alive in some capacity, because they haven't touched on Force ghosts or any type of afterlife for Sith yet.
At least, but I thought it was because they weren't able to discover that. Like, according to canon, it's canon now, right? That Yoda visited there was like the Force sisters or whatever that planted the center of the galaxy.
Yeah.
And there's like the cosmic force.
Well, he's visited the Wills. He's visited all kinds of places in search of enlightenment.
And the thing is like, so they taught Qui-Gon Jinn how to basically preserve his essence. And
yeah, he was the first canon Force ghost.
But he didn't complete the training, so he wasn't able to project himself, but he was still a consciousness.
Well, he did project himself in Clone Wars to Yoda. He was the very first projected Force ghost.
Wait, really?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep, it was like maybe 3/4 into Clone Wars. I think Yoda went to Dagobah for the first time. And when he was there, the Force essence was so powerful that Qui-Gon manifested in front of him as a Force ghost, the very first one, and was telling him, you should definitely come here. Like, if you're ever going to have to escape for whatever reason, like, this is the place. And Qui-Gon's basically the reason Yoda decides Dagobah.
That's interesting.
It was so cool. Oh, man, I love Clone Wars.
Yeah, I have not watched a lot of Clone Wars. I did watch where, what's Anakin's apprentice's name?
Ahsoka
confronts Vader and finds out it's Anakin. And,
it's
like his face
in Rebels.
Yeah, his mask is sliced halfway off, and you can see his eye underneath, and it's Anakin.
That's crazy shit. I need to catch up on Rebels. They're on the last half of season 4 now, which is final season. So
what?
But yeah, I mean,
the thing, the animation bothers me. It's not really.
It's not like Clone Wars.
It's not drawing.
It's slightly off from Clone Wars.
It's weird. It's like watching. I don't know. I'm old school.
I loved Clone Wars because it was like almost always movie quality animation.
Yeah.
But Rebels seems like it's slightly off.
Maybe it's sloppy.
Like, and I don't know if it's sloppy. It just doesn't look as clean, like polished.
There was none of that in Last Jedi, man. Every bit of CGI in that was like perfection. It was absolutely.
Oh my god!
perfect.
The only thing I'd say didn't have absolute perfection was maybe the father ears, the horse things. That was the only thing I'd say didn't have flawless CGI. But like, even in them scenes on the ship, Snoke's ship, when Finn and like when the ship gets blown up. Partially,
yeah.
And like you see Finn fighting Phasma. If you look in the background, you see like 5 or so stormtroopers trying to fight BB-8, who's in an AT-ST, and you can see the whole shit play out while you're like, I've seen the movie 3 times now.
Yeah.
My first time and second time, I just paid attention to Finn and Phasma.
Oh, yeah.
Third time, I was staring so heavy at the background of every scene to see what I could like notice.
Yeah.
And you just see BB-8 just like looking around like poof, poof, and just
That's
like
so
annihilating stormtroopers. It's so fucking cool. But
That's wicked awesome.
now, what do you think about the Haldo situation?
I don't know. It should have been Leia. I'm sorry. If they're gonna, I mean, they're gonna have to do something where they can't. It would be disrespectful at this point in time, I think, to have Carrie Fisher act in the next movie as a freaking CGI character.
I think the only way it's acceptable is if they start the movie with a funeral.
Yeah, I mean, like they could. She should have been the one to do that. She should have been the one to sacrifice herself.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
It's just like, I mean, realistically, that's what Leia should have done. Like she, you know.
Well, see, at first I was on the train of. Of course, after she died, and we knew that she died.
Yeah.
My first train of thought is they're gonna kill her in Last Jedi.
Oh yeah,
she's got to die. Then I watched The Last Jedi, and then the second scene you see her in, she fucking flies out the bridge.
With Akbar, by the way, who also died in that scene.
Akbar, totally fucking dead.
That's glossed over. Akbar was on the bridge with her.
I noticed it immediately when she said Akbar. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, I know. I think
it was a trap.
General Zadana was on the bridge. Like all these alliance.
Yeah,
literally
people.
All the leaders of the alliance, for the most part, blown out into space and killed.
But
then she does Mary Poppins. She's like, oh.
I love that though. Like a lot of people were like, "Oh, she's force flying." That's not a power. She's not force flying, dude. She's grabbing and pulling.
And you're in space. You're weightless.
Right.
So
it literally doesn't mean anything. Like
I thought that was cool.
Did you notice the foreshadowing in that scene though?
Ooh.
When she's flying in, she force grabs the door, but she's pulling herself in, and as she's coming through the bridge, her body literally flies right through the hologram of Snoke's ship, right where Haldo crashed through it.
Oh, I did
not.
Like,
it's just a hologram that stayed up because of electrical circuits running rampant.
Yeah.
And she literally glides right through the spot that Haldo crashes through later in the movie. And when I seen that shit, I was like, oh. But I was on that train where I thought she was gonna die. But I mean, once I see it, it's like, damn, like they had 3-4 chances to kill her off in this movie and they didn't do it. Yeah. Now I kind of feel bad if they do kill her off in the next one.
I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with that character. I mean, they can't. There's so many options, as far as that goes. They could just have her retire. They could just have her be a resistance. I
think it depends on how long of a time gap they give the two, this movie and the next one.
That's true. They might,
because if it's like a 5-year gap, like it was with Empire and Return, could. I mean,
think about it this way: the longer gap they leave, they can't leave too much of a gap.
Yeah.
But the longer gap they leaves them open to do more standalone movies in that period.
Yeah.
So you could still use the First Order as a main bad guy, but then have rebel factions from other time, areas.
Or even have like independent people, like what's his name, Benicio, the hacker dude.
Oh yeah.
Have like side stories based on independent people that don't really care about what's going on with the war. They just fight in their independent battles, and no, I think I think those kids could lead into a great story, but I would much rather go back to like a Old Republic era with movies.
I think it'd be kind of fun. I mean, you have to be careful doing it, but I mean, when the Skywalker saga part of it is done, like I'm all about some Exar Kun or some freaking old school stuff, like where you've got like 20,000 Jedi and 20,000 Sith.
That's why I loved Attack of the Clones so much, because you see fucking 50 to 100 Jedi on screen at once. That's what I wanted from like Star Wars. When I seen 4 through 6 as a kid, and then I seen 1, and I was like, oh, that's cool. We're back to the Jedi shit, and this is awesome. And then Attack of the Clones came out, and I see 100 of them, and they all got different colored lightsabers. I'm like, holy shit!
That was pretty awesome.
But like,
and then a bunch of them got killed by random blaster fire by droids. And like,
there was so many droids though. It's like you couldn't even be mad. I mean, Order 66 was like 12 troopers that smoked them all. Like,
yeah, that was kind of, especially if they weren't expecting it.
Yeah, but no, like I think Old Republic would be a perfect era to go back to, because you have so much lore that isn't currently canon. that could easily be brought into canon and could be changed if it ever was bad at a point.
Yeah, we would require minimal writing,
Right.
minimal production. Like you could just. The stuff,
I mean, you just proofread shit at that point.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, if Disney was smart, they'd do it because it would save them a bunch of money and make them even more. I mean, realistically, people are going to go see Star Wars films
No matter what.
But there will be a limit that people reach if they do a shitty Star Wars film that ignores a bunch of stuff and just basically just
it'll turn that 1 billion into 500 million, and then that 500 million into 100,000.
Exactly. They have to be careful with it.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, they can't. I mean, Rogue One could have gone a really shitty direction.
I thought it was
they
great.
Saved it. Oh, I loved Rogue.
I see a lot of people hating on it now that Last Jedi's out, and I'm like, what is wrong with you?
It's just a lot of it I think is sour grapes too. Because Last Jedi, there's a lot of stuff that pissed people off, and instead of accepting this is just a direction they're going with the storyline. They're like,
well, my theory was wrong.
My theory was wrong. Yeah, exactly. They didn't. My character didn't. I like this character best. He should.
Why wasn't Rey's parents Luke and Mara Jade? Maybe because Mara Jade's not canon, bro. Maybe because it's tough to explain that Mara Jade was there at Jabba's palace. People forget so much shit. Mara Jade was supposed to be everywhere in Return of the Jedi, but you don't have a redhead in that movie. You can't include somebody that just wasn't there. With Rebels, they brought back Captain Rex, the clone captain from the Clone Wars era that wiped his brain before Order 66, so he didn't get that trigger. So he shows up in Rebels again, old man, bald, white beard, and then they confirm that they based his old man concept on an old character, Rebel, from Episode 6 on Endor. And so they make Rex that dude. So it's confirmed in there now. But you can't do that with Mara Jade because there is no redhead.
Exactly.
There was only 2 women in the galaxy. It was Mon Mothma and Leia.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I mean, seriously, and you can even watch Family Guy and they poke fun of that shit when they did that Star Wars episode.
Oh yeah.
They go to talk to Mon Mothma and they're like, hey, what's up? You're the only other woman in the galaxy.
What did you think about the whole anti-feminist crap that those people?
I thought it was bullshit because there's only 4 women characters in this movie that are prevalent. Not counting Billie Lourd. Yeah. Because I thought she was great. The fact that they gave her as big a role as she had in this one was a blessing. I loved it. Mm-hmm. But Holdo, I understood her purpose because a lot of people don't realize the purpose of this movie was, or not the purpose, but the theme of this movie was balance. You got the good, the bad, the light, the dark, the cocky asshole that wants to do what he wants to do, and then the chick that's got a plan that won't tell the cocky asshole because he doesn't deserve to know.
Exactly.
And you have this whole movie, and John Williams is a fucking genius.
Oh yeah.
Because the whole movie leading up to her actual plan being realized, her music is dark. It's fuck you type music.
Oh yeah, it's true.
So it's you're hearing this soundtrack behind her being sneaky, and you're like, who is this bitch? I don't trust this bitch. She's never been on TV before.
Exactly.
She's never been, fuck this bitch.
Yeah, we don't know who she is.
I like Poe. Fuck this. And then at the end of it, you're like, maybe Poe is a dick.
Yeah. Who might be force sensitive.
I think he is. I think he is, much like Han.
Dude, this Han theory is great. Okay, give our fans your Han theory here. Yeah.
All right, so I think Han is force sensitive for a multitude of reasons. But I think Ben sensed it in Episode 4 when Han goes to say, I'm all about luck. I don't believe in this space magic bullshit and whatever. And then Ben's like, it's always more than luck. And I think in that moment, Ben sensed it, that he's not just lucky. And, there's a lot of moments where he pulls off some impossible bullshit.
Yeah, like the asteroid belt thing.
The asteroid belt.
Twisting
obnoxious.
and turning, inches away from getting killed.
Episode 6. The dude is fucking blind, hanging from Chewie, and he shoots a dude. Yeah. That is some force shit. That is literally what Luke did when he had the lightsaber practicing.
He might be like what they used to call them failed Jedi, where they're people that are force sensitive but just aren't.
I think he denies it.
To it. Yeah,
I think he's in total denial
because he denies it in himself. He's never gonna. It's like when like Luke shutting himself off from the
Yeah.
Force. Like, you know, you can do that subconsciously. Just make I'm not going to use the Force. I don't believe in the Force. It's stupid. Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You know, that could be it. He could, you know.
I think that's exactly what it is, and it makes sense that Ben would be so powerful if both of his parents were strong Force sensitives. I mean, Leia's already super strong according to canon.
Yeah.
Like her midichlorian counts through the fucking roof.
Well, then you got Poe, who's the way he flies and everything. That's beyond just a regular pilot's abilities. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, the type of
that
turns-
maneuver that he pulled when he did the fucking circle around, came back and killed the two TIE fighters.
It's pretty crazy shit. Like most people would pass out. I mean, who
He
knows?
pulled some Luke shit. I mean, seriously.
He really did.
Trench run shit. That was so cool.
It was insane. So I'm convinced he's a Force sensitive and just doesn't realize it. And that's why
A lot of people in Star Wars are.
Well, they didn't like introduce he hadn't met an actual Force user besides Leia.
And then he sees Luke, but that's about it.
Well, I'm wondering if Leia just wasn't trained enough in the Force to be able to tell he was Force sensitive. She couldn't sense him.
I know she knew she was Force sensitive. Because, like, I mean, you can't have telepathy and not know that you're Force sensitive. And you can't not be, like, you can't be Darth Vader's daughter and Luke Skywalker's sister and not know that you got some ability to do the shit. But, like, I have a feeling like she just wanted to hold off as much as she could from even being a part of that.
Yeah.
Because she knew her role was so important. Like,
Because you could lose yourself in the Force, I'm sure. Look, that's what happened to, like, you know, some of the people. There was a comic book or a book out a while ago where, like, I think it was they talked about how Ben Kenobi like meditated so much on the Force, and Yoda meditated so much on the Force that after a while they became. It wasn't even necessarily that they were not combative anymore. Like they didn't want to fight. It wasn't that they were trying to lay down their arms. They literally just stopped caring about other creatures except for the Force and themselves.
Right.
And
you get absorbed.
Well, yeah, you become so in tune to the Force, you lose yourself in it. So you stop. You know, if your friends die, oh well, it's the will of the Force. You don't care anymore,
right?
Because you're so like just absorbed in it.
That's how Yoda was a lot of the time. Honestly, I mean, he was just like, fuck it. If it happens, it happens.
Exactly, and I think it's interesting. That started happening to Luke a little bit, but at that point, though, Luke was just
he was torn.
disconnected.
He was totally like ruined.
I mean, pretty bad. Poor Wormy.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
Poor Wormy.
And the thing about like the difference between Luke and Ben going into hiding and whatever, is Ben had a purpose going into hiding.
True, to
like
protect Luke.
He has to protect something.
Yeah.
Luke only has Ben, and he totally fucking fails him. Like as a master, as an uncle, he's just like, fuck, this is the temptation that like this is gonna be it. Like he's about to kill everybody.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, shit, do I do it? Do I do it? And then he fucking, the second he ignited that lightsaber, it was over.
Yeah, and that's a weird thing. Like, you don't just send the kid back to his parents and say, hey, he's fucked up.
Yeah, right. Like it's like in that moment, it's either do or die. It's a total instinct moment. And I think that's why it was so good. Like, a lot of people hate on that shit. Like, why all of a sudden, like, would he turn on his nephew? Like, dude was so patient with his father. Because it's his fucking father.
Well, that's
like,
the thing,
this is his nephew.
Yeah, but think about it this way, though. He didn't know his dad at all. He grew up with his nephew.
Plus, he probably felt karma coming back for fucking 30 years. I think there was nothing but Jedi, no Sith in the galaxy. He knows what balance is, so he knows there has to be a Sith coming.
I have a feeling we're gonna get, or we deserve to get, honestly, a book detailing what happened between in those years after Return of the Jedi.
Oh, I didn't even tell you. They kind of made Revan canon.
What?
They finally decided to touch on Revan somewhat.
Darth Revan.
Just do a quick Google right now of Jedi Crusader. That's all you have to Google.
What? Is that a porn film?
It's going to be a sweet porn film. It's going to have the Mos Eisley Cantina theme, and it's going to have that
Jedi
big titty
Crusader.
bitch that was dancing in Jabba's palace. But
this is a group of Jedi
that followed Revan, right? The Revan kissed. It should say something along that line.
Where a group of Jedi, Luke Skywalker had a pennant from Jedi Crusader which contained a broken Sith kyber crystal.
Mm-hmm. And Last Jedi, you can see it for like a split second amongst his collectibles in his hut.
What?
Yep. and it's got a Sith crystal, but it's marked as a recovered Jedi Crusader pendant.
So, because it was a faction founded by Darth Revan. That's interesting.
And it's a Sith crystal, so it's not like a Jedi Crusader would regularly have it. But Revan, who became a Sith and was a Sith in like earlier times, like it would make sense for him as a Jedi Crusader to have that. So they finally brought that in.
Yeah, they have a lot of options. I mean, they can do just about anything they want. The only thing that pisses me off that they can't do is, I mean, the Timothy Zahn novels aren't perfect. Mm-hmm. Timothy Zahn? Is that his name right? I don't know. That guy. Whatever. You know, the Dark Empire trilogy. It's not a perfect trilogy, but it's really freaking good.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got stories like with the Truce of Bakura that takes place immediately after Return of the Jedi. So Luke is like. He's like weak. He has the shakes and stuff, and he's damn, you know, like and like a little ways into the book, he finally goes to a doctor because he passes out, and they find out he's got, you know, all sorts of problems with the bones in his body because he was been exposed to electricity. Right. He was force shocked constantly.
For like a full minute of Vader trying to decide.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, most likely that's probably what happened. You know, and that at least according to the book, they say, oh, the force lightning. You know, but that book again introduced a bunch of weird stuff. You have like this, was it Cyruk? You know, these creatures that the lizard people that basically like would capture people and suck their essences out of their body and put them into droids and make them do their work. That's some fucked stuff.
That's terrible.
But I mean, some of those books don't make a lot of sense.
No, see, like, because I do like some EU stuff, some Legends stuff, but like, there's really good stories, and then there's really bad stories.
There are some really horrible stories. I mean, some of the storylines, too, just got weird. I mean, they killed off Chewie in some of those books.
That one pissed me off.
Yeah, it pissed off. I never even read it.
I read up on it, like, because at first I just read it. I'm like, what a dumbass idea. And then I actually read up on it, and it's like, you know, they went there, and then they went to save Anakin, the youngest son, or some shit, and then fucking Chewie's like, hey, you guys can go. I'm going to stay here, sacrifice myself. And then fucking Moon crashes into the planet and kills him. And like
they drop a moon on.
And then Han is like, "Fuck you, Anakin," for like months. And it's like, why?
I think that guy, the writer, just wanted to be the guy that killed off Chewie.
Yeah,
he wanted
he wanted that credit
to make his mark. Name. You know, it's like, well, I can't kill anybody major, but I can kill him. And then, you know,
right.
I don't know.
And I didn't like, honestly, like, I appreciate the Thrawn stories and whatever, but the clone story was just terrible to me. Where Luke has a fucking DNA clone of himself.
Oh, Luke!
I mean, it leads to a lot of Mara Jade action and shit, but like, why the fuck is Luke?
Why would they clone him? Yeah, I mean, you think Cyboth would just clone
Why not
himself?
just clone Vader? With a full human body. Why? At that point, give Anakin his full body.
That's crazy. I know. Well, the Emperor had all these contingencies and stuff like that. I mean,
yeah.
Isn't it the invasion of Naboo is like canon now too? Or like
they just included it in Battlefront, the new one, and they included it in a book where Leia was defending.
Yeah.
And I think she meets somebody really important there.
I wonder if they never flat out say anything in these new movies if they know who their mother was at all.
Whose mother?
Leia and Luke.
Oh, Luke knows.
Really?
Luke knows about Padme.
Really?
Yeah, he studied it. I forget what they confirmed that in, but they confirmed that Luke knew. And they also confirmed, I think they confirmed during the invasion of Naboo that, or at least in new canon, they confirmed that Leia knows about Padme being her real mom. Because she said something about my mother. She said something along the lines of my mother set up a massive, basically like an EMP wave. It's like an ion pulse, like centering around the palace. So that Imperials are all coming in with their ships. And she detonates a mass ion pulse, and it just wipes out all their tech and crashes them all.
Huh.
Like, but yeah, the current canon on it is like really interesting as far as them knowing their parents, because I think Luke like had some kind of conversation or something with somebody, and then he like meditated on it and seen he's seen like in a vision or something, Anakin and Padme, I guess. But I'm really feeling the way they're changing canon in certain aspects. Like, there are certain things where I wish, like, maybe not. I'm still waiting on them to give the definite confirmation that Boba's still alive. Because I know it's canon that he escaped and whatever, technically, and, you know, there's deleted scenes and this and that, and you can say it in this novel, but you never show him again. Show him again. Like...
Well, it says Bail Organa, who was also aware of their parentage, recorded a private holotape of him spilling the beans for Leia to have when she was older.
Bail.
Before he died. It was discovered post Return of the Jedi. And somebody says, is that canon? They go, yes. This is... what should we call it? So Bail told Leia. Interesting.
That's cool.
Huh.
Did you hear Ryan defended Luke's force power at the end?
Really? How did he do that now?
Alright, so, well, he's, you know, he had a lot of people tweeting him and saying, you fucking ruined Star Wars and this and that. Just a bunch of salty bitches.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
But they were like, how are you going to have Luke come in as a fucking hologram? Or how are you going to have Luke come in as a fucking hyper-realistic Force ghost? That's a bullshit power if I ever heard of one. And then, like, he literally tweets, like, an eyes emoji.
Yeah.
And then he tweets, like, a picture of his bookshelf. And then, like, he goes over to it. And he pulls this book. It's called I think it's, like, the Book of the Jedi or the Path of the Jedi or something. And it was originally from, like, 2010. Then they re-edited it in 2011. And then once the canon changed, they re-edited it and released it in 2014. So they edited this book 3 times.
Yeah.
So he took it, and he, like, literally just flips open to one of the later pages, and it's a power in this book. Like, the book just lays out the path to being the God Jedi, basically. Like, it's just, like, all the powers you can learn, all the meditations that are important, all this, like... just a bunch of important Jedi shit.
Yeah.
And one of the main power definitions that's laid out is the doppelganger, which is literally the ability to project yourself, objects, or just about anything you have seen, can perceive, anything. You can project it anywhere you want, but you have to have extreme mastery of the light side of the Force. Like, you have to be a superior master to even be doing this. And it takes a tremendous amount of energy. And so, I mean, theoretically, if you were strong enough, you could just project a fucking army of rebels. And they would be like, holy shit, it's a fucking army. And then they'd back off, like, because they wouldn't have a clue.
It's true. It's really true.
But he was like, that's exactly what I had Luke do. I am just as much a fan as the next guy.
Yeah.
But... I dig deep when I want to find something new. So he digs back into some shit that people were like, that's not canon. That book came out originally before the Disney deal, whatever. And he's like, fuck it, that's canon. I'm going to do it. And then he does it and people are like, he's a hologram. No, he's not. He's a fucking doppelganger. It's a power that only masters can do. Like, this shows how strong Luke really is. Like, you wanted that tremendous display of power. The dude projected himself across multiple star systems and fucking, like, told his nephew, you're a little bitch boy. Like, I'm gonna see you around.
And the interesting thing is Kylo was so pissed off and he's so disrupted in his brain and shit. He didn't even stop to reach out. And either Luke was able to project his essence there, like that was him, so Kylo could sense that was him.
Yep.
Or Kylo was so fucked up he couldn't even bother to check and see if that was really Luke or not. Like, to reach out with the Force and see if anybody was there.
That's the thing. A lot of people didn't even notice on first viewing. They revealed it before they even technically revealed it.
Yeah.
That he wasn't there.
Yeah, because his foot wasn't leaving marks in the sword.
Yeah, he totally slid his foot across the same way Kylo did, and not a single red mark was made.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It was so cool.
That was a really cool ending to that film. I thought it was pretty cool.
I thought the cinematography of it was incredible.
It was really, really nice.
Oh, it was beautiful. Loved that movie.
I love that movie too.
I mean, if I were to honestly rank it, I'd probably put it in top 3 episodes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just off of mythology of it, the impact that it's gonna make. I mean,
the amount of shit they packed into it too was
I'd
amazing.
probably. I mean, realistically, my ranking would probably go 6 and 5 and then Last Jedi. Because I mean, I'm on and off with 5. Like, it's either I like it or I'm kind of like about it. Like, it's a love-hate movie for me.
I love Empire Strikes Back. It does drag a little bit in some spots. But
that's why it's on and off. It's either I really love it or I really fucking am tired of this shit. Like, but it is a great movie. I loved it. Last Jedi was great.
Last Jedi was good. That's our review.
Yeah,
that's a review. we had to record this. We had to get it off our chests.
Had to do it. It's been
things that we thought of.
We took a little break. Had to come back with some
hard hitting content.
Hard hitting journalism.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.